President Trump fired the acting attorney general for telling lawyers in the Justice Department not to enforce his new order on immigration. And effective immediately, the Boy Scouts will accept transgender children. That's today on SkyWatchTV. It's Wednesday, February 1st, 2017. I'm Derek Gilbert. First up, President Trump fired the acting Attorney General, Sally Yates, Monday evening after Yates directed lawyers inside the Justice Department not to defend the president's executive order on immigration. It only took a few hours for the president to pull out his trademark line, "You're fired." According to Newt Gingrich, Yates made a tactical error. She was, of course, a Democratic appointee, but if she had resigned, she would have been a hero to the Democratic base. Instead, by forcing Trump to fire her, he comes off looking like a strong, decisive president taking care of problems inside the administration. In response to Trump's order, Starbucks CEO says he will hire 10,000 refugees over the next 5 years. Howard Schultz sent a letter out to employees on Sunday stating he'd begin the process in the United States with immigrants who served the United States military as translators or support personnel. UN Secretary General, that is, Antonio Guterres has called on President Trump to reverse this order. Good luck with that. But Guterres is in a bit of hot water himself. Palestinians are demanding an apology after Guterres told an Israeli radio interviewer that it was completely clear the temple destroyed by the Romans in AD 70 was a Jewish temple. Adnan al-Husseini, the Palestinian Authority's Jerusalem Affairs Minister, told the Chinese news agency Xinhua that Guterres, quote, ignored UNESCO's decision that considered the Al-Aqsa Mosque of pure Islamic heritage, end quote. Look, just because UNESCO is filled with history deniers doesn't mean the United Nations needs to be led by one. Europe, moving closer to becoming a cashless society. We've been talking about the war on cash over the last couple of years. Of course, EU recently decided to stop producing 500 euro notes. Now the European Commission has put forward a proposal to restrict transactions in cash. The reason, of course, same old one, the only people who use big bills are terrorists, criminals, and tax cheats. Of course, this is also a move to guarantee that bankers will always be necessary, if not in control of the world, because you can't take your electronic currency out of the bank and stick it in a coffee can and bury it in the backyard. You always have to have those digital bits and bytes on file somewhere. And of course, every transaction you make is recorded by the government. After declaring evolution and the Big Bang to be settled science, Pope Francis has defended liberation theology in an interview with a Spanish newspaper, saying that liberation theology was a good thing for Latin America, but that it had a few problems that needed to be corrected. If you're not familiar, liberation theology came out of Latin America. It blends Marxist ideology with a view of the Bible based on rationalism. The Jesuits were very instrumental in promoting liberation theology. Now, rationalism is a view that reason is the ultimate authority in religious faith, meaning logic trumps the Word of God. That's problematic as Christians because we serve a supernatural God who acts outside of space and time, not something that we can process and fit into a rational box. I mean, think about some of the stories from the Bible. Floating axe heads, talking donkeys, parting the Red Sea. Well, the result of liberation theology in Latin America was a militant church more interested in revolution on behalf of the poor classes to free them, liberate them from the oppression of the wealthy masses. Again, promoted by the Jesuits and with certainly some help from and support from communists around the world. More emphasis, sadly, put on freeing the poor from their oppression than from freeing them from their sins and the consequences thereof. In Norway, the Lutheran Church voted Monday to allow pastors to conduct same-sex marriages. The ruling also changes the marriage liturgy to remove the words bride and groom, making it gender neutral. This brings Norway's official church into line with many other Protestant denominations around the world, not to mention the spirit of the age. Coming up, the Boy Scouts of America open membership to transgender children. That's next on SkyWatch TV.
Some of the greatest prophetic mysteries of the Bible that the world has ever pondered have now been carefully explored. And the SkyWatch TV store is bringing the exploration to you in the new Mysteries of the Bible Revealed special offer. In this special offer, you'll receive the new book by New York Times best-selling author Joel Richardson, Mystery Babylon. Richardson works through the history of the Christian interpretation of Mystery Babylon, weighing the strengths and weaknesses of each view, and then making a powerful case for a solution to this prophecy that will rock scholars around the world. You'll also receive The Mystery of the Shemitah from New York Times best-selling author Jonathan Cahn. This is a book you can't afford not to read. Cahn explores a possible 3,000-year-old mystery that may explain the timing of 9/11, the lies behind world wars, the collapse of nations, empires, and may hold the key to what lies ahead for the world and for your life. Plus, we'll also include in this special offer the unexplained mysteries of heaven and earth. Join author Ron Phillips as he combines his trademark theological balance with extensive historical research to travel through time to look at the flood, the Great Pyramid, the rapture, and much more. Altogether, this incredible offer holds an unprecedented retail value of over $50. Yours now for only $19.99 plus shipping and handling. So now you can explore the greatest prophetic mysteries of the Bible. Place your order for the Mysteries of the Bible Revealed special offer at SkyWatchTVStore.com now.
The Boy Scouts of America will now accept transgender children. New policy taking effect immediately. Membership in Cub Scouts and Boy Scouts will be based henceforth on gender on the application, the gender indicated on applications rather than on the gender listed on birth certificates. This follows a case in Secaucus, New Jersey, where an 8-year-old girl who was living as a boy was asked to leave his Cub Scout pack. 3 years ago, the Scouts accepted openly gay Scouts. And in 2015, they lifted a ban on gay Scout leaders. The Girl Scouts have been accepting transgender boys, well, transgender girls, boys living as girls, since 2011. This is a bad idea, just on logistical grounds. Children in this age group, particularly once they get into Boy Scouts, as graduate from Cub Scouts to Boy Scouts, are at a time in their life when they are curious and confused about sex and gender. We've talked before on this program. I have no ill will toward these people or their parents, but I remind you that the statistics put forward by the LGBT activist community indicates that 41% of them will at some point try to commit suicide. And the best studies I've seen on gender dysphoria, the medical condition of being confused about what gender you are, between 70 and 90% of the children who are apparently suffering from gender dysphoria will grow out of it if their parents just leave them alone and don't push them into a lifestyle where 2 out of 5 will try to kill themselves. Now, besides that, just going on camping trips with a variety of genders, look, if you're a parent, you know where I'm coming from. It's a bad idea. The Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts rapidly progressivizing themselves into extinction. A 16-year-old boy in southwest England drowned last summer after taking a formerly legal drug called N-bomb. Nathan Wood, out with friends last August, took the hallucinogenic drug and began acting irrationally, stripped off his clothes, began babbling, saying things like, "We have to get out of here. They're talking about sacrificing someone." Pushed his friends out of the way, jumped into a nearby river. He was found later by one of his friends. N-bomb is described as being something like ecstasy or LSD. Now, drugs can open the mind to perceive things that we cannot perceive with our natural senses. And it appears that whatever this young man took opened him to something that his friends weren't able to see. We can only speculate as to what that was. We can only speculate as to what caused his death. Maybe it just was confusion caused by the drug, but maybe he actually did see something that was talking about sacrificing someone. And sadly, young Nathan Wood was the victim. The German newspaper Der Spiegel reporting a disturbing account of soldiers at an elite German military base, a special operations training center, where recruits are subjected to sexual abuse and violent rituals. No real description as to what those rituals were, but my radar begins to ping every time I hear German rituals, sex magic. That's the direction. But again, Der Spiegel doesn't go into it. The report has been confirmed by German military officials. 7 soldiers dismissed from service after this report went public. Scientists watching Mount Etna in Italy. An earthquake swarm picked up beneath the volcano by seismographs Monday. Schools in 3 nearby towns were evacuated. 60 tremors in all were felt, the strongest measuring a magnitude 3.5. And scientists are also keeping a watch on Vesuvius. That's the volcano that destroyed the town of Pompeii in AD 79, killing about 1,500 people. Showing signs of waking up, but there are a lot more people living in the danger zone than there were 2,000 years ago, especially because of the volcano just to the west of Vesuvius called Campe Flegrei. That one some refer to as the Big Daddy of Vesuvius. You can see the danger zones marked here. The darker the red, the more danger. A major eruption could put as many as 3 million people at risk. But scientists admit, even though they're seeing some rumbling in Vesuvius, they don't have any idea if and when it will erupt or how strong the eruption would be. 100 years after an event, you'd think we'd know a little more about it than we did at the time, but such is not the case with the so-called Tunguska event. This was the world's biggest explosion. It happened in 1908, June 30th to be exact, estimated at the power of about 185 Hiroshima bombs. It was felt as far away as the United States. If you're not familiar with the Tunguska event, a large fireball erupted over Siberia that night, again, June 30th, 1908. So whatever it was exploded about 6 miles up in the atmosphere, leveled 80 million trees, 80 million trees, and left charred reindeer carcasses scattered across hundreds of miles. Italian scientists spent about 21 years researching the event. They concluded that Lake Cheko in Siberia was a crater lake, evidence that perhaps what happened that night was a meteorite strike. But a new study by a Russian team says the idea is flawed, meaning that the blast is still a mystery. Other theories that have been proposed to explain the Tunguska event over the years, some more irrational than others, include a black hole colliding with the Earth, a comet exploding in the atmosphere, even aliens in a spacecraft shooting down an incoming meteor to save the Earth. Local people, called the Evanki, believe it was a visitation by an angry god in their pantheon, the god called Agdi. And speaking of fire in the sky, finally, more than 7 fireballs seen over the U.S. and the U.K. in the last 4 days. That flash you just saw there, recorded by a home security camera in North Carolina. A number of reports here in our part of the country. Early Monday morning, fireballs seen in the sky. These spots on the map indicate places where they were seen. The red areas there over northwest Arkansas, just a little bit southeast of where we sit. I didn't see anything, but I have to confess I wasn't awake before sunrise on Monday morning either. Anything significant about this? Don't know, but there are no recurring meteorite showers expected at this time of year. We hope to see you at the end of March, beginning of April, at the Hear the Watchman Conference in Dallas. You heard yesterday from Mike Kerr and Jeannie Moore visiting us this week as they prepare for the conference. It's coming up at the the DFW Lakes Conference Center. It's Grapevine, Texas, which is the Dallas metro area. Pastor Carl Gallup's just added to the great lineup of speakers there, including L.A. Marzulli, Russ Dizdar, Pastor Michael Lake, Dr. Michael Lake, Pastor Mike Spalding, Pastor Paul Begley, and others. You'll find more information at hearthewatchman.com, and you can save $20 on registration by using the promo code SkyWatch. You'll find us online at skywatchtv.com. And you'll find me online, all the stuff that I put up there at derekpgilbert.com. Thank you for watching as we keep watch. I'm Derek Gilbert, and this is SkyWatch TV.